In 2008, the governor chose this morning's guest as Professor of the Year. Stay tuned, you'll find out why. Coming up next on All American People. Good morning. Welcome to All American People. This morning we're in the lobby of Wheelwright Auditorium on the campus of Coastal Carolina University. We're focused on the academic element of the campus, and we're visiting with Professor Sharon Thompson, a professor of health promotion here at Coastal. Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning, Greg. Nice to be here.
Thanks so much for coming in. Of course, an exciting week, right on the heels of the weekend, the big graduation weekend. A lot going on here on campus.
Right. It's an exciting time here at Coastal, but it's always exciting here at Coastal. We have a great vibe here. Yeah,
throughout. That's not just 9 months of the year.
No. Throughout the year.
That's throughout the year.
Absolutely, absolutely.
For you, for folks who don't understand how summers work, what are you doing during the summer? Is it all preparation for the next year, or are there other things that go on?
No, actually, we have a Maymester, and Maymester starts Monday after graduation, right. So we're already into it now, and I'm teaching Maymester. Then we have a summer 1 session and a summer 2, and faculty can choose to teach or not, and the class has to make, but we do spend a lot of time working on research and publications in the summer, so summer can be quite busy even if you aren't teaching for a faculty member.
I bet, I bet. Golly, when we hear the term health promotion, for viewers who may not be familiar with that, I said you're a professor of health promotion here.
Right.
What exactly is health promotion?
Well, health promotion is really a relatively new field. Everyone's aware how expensive medical costs are now, and so we're much more into prevention. And I always say it's not so much that we live to be 120 years old, but we want great quality of life. And health promotion is all about improving quality of life. And within our degree program, we train our students to do needs assessments, to find out health problems in the community, to plan programs, to work with people to improve their health, to implement those programs, and then evaluate the programs. And they work in a lot of different settings, hospital health education, nonprofits. A lot of them go on to allied health careers like nurse practitioner, nurse assistant, radiology, different kinds of fields.
So it sets the stage for some other graduate programs as well?
Absolutely. They can do the prerequisite classes within the health promotion program to go on to graduate work.
Wonderful, wonderful. Professor Thompson, a little bit about yourself, and I want to talk a little more about health promotion, but are you originally from the area?
No, I'm originally from Florence, South Carolina, and I moved here 30 years ago to Conway, and now reside in Myrtle Beach. Okay,
and had you thought about opportunities here at Coastal when you were in Florence? Was that part of what prompted you to make the move?
No, not really. I actually went to Clemson University. I majored in ornamental horticulture, of all things.
I'm not going to try to write that down. Yeah.
And then actually got a job teaching at the Grand Strand Career Center in Myrtle Beach after I graduated. And then I went to USC and started working on my master's degree. And at that point, I took a health graduate course here at Coastal and just fell in love with the area of health and also Coastal Carolina University. And I knew at that point in my life that I wanted to teach at Coastal Carolina University. So I continued to take graduate courses driving back and forth to Columbia, and eventually was hired as part-time faculty in 1991, and then I finished my doctoral degree in '93 and was hired as full-time faculty.
Now the doctoral work, was that also an ornamental horticulture?
No. It was all in health. I made a complete
so it was a total
turn.
Change
it was a total change. Yeah, I can tell people how to grow plants and also tell them what kinds of healthy vegetables they should grow too. So.
Well, that would give a broad diversity in the classroom.
Right, yeah, it's an interesting match. It really is. I've done a number of talks lately about cooking with herbs and the health benefits of herbs and growing herbs, you know, for cooking. So it blends well.
That would be, you know, and of course in the classroom there's so many things that need to happen to really garner a student's attention.
Right.
And ultimately being able to mix that in probably helps. But and when you said giving a talk, is that outside of it? Do you go off campus some and meet with the community?
I do. I've probably done 10 community talks in the past year. I really enjoy doing that and getting to know people through churches or garden clubs, or I went down to Freewood Farms for an event they had, so it's a lot of fun.
That is great. That is great. And of course, when you think about opportunities just like that, it is a way to really expand the university out into the community.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Into the community. I think I saw it was in 2008, a big year. I know a lot of folks don't want to do any self-promotion, but I've got to say the Governor's Professor of the Year, that was something that not only just here at Coastal, not only schools throughout the state in one particular degree, but this is in all degrees for all schools statewide.
That was a very big honor. At that point in time, my dean nominated me, and I went through the application process and made it to the finalist and was interviewed in Columbia and received a phone call a few days later that I had won. And I was really just in awe. I feel like the stars aligned that day, but it was a very big honor, and just very pleased and proud.
I know you're tough to talk about yourself. I'll blame it on Martha Hun then, who I think mentioned to me that you were the only professor in Coastal Carolina University's history that has received the Governor's Professor of the Year.
That's true. Hopefully that'll change in the upcoming years.
That's year after year.
Absolutely.
Let's pray that'll continue to expand. Of course, to hear about from Dr. DeCenzo on Monday, of course, highlighted a little bit from his commencement address, some of the excitement here about the transformation to see truly the educational excellence, but also to see integrity coming into play. Are you beginning to see any changes there? Have integrity really been an issue? Are students continuing to maintain high moral standards?
It's been so exciting to be at Coastal for the past 20 years because I've seen so many good changes happening here at Coastal. You know, we've really beefed up our accreditation processes and assessment and evaluation. Anymore, you can't just say, I'm going to teach a class and decide what you're going to teach, but you have to think about student learning outcomes and how we're going to help our students to achieve these different outcomes, and also just help them to grow in their moral character and be good people, and the implementation of the honor code. You know, we really are looking at the whole person here. We want them to be employed or go on to graduate school, but also to be good, productive citizens.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. When we think about accreditation, I know I said earlier this morning that may be a difficult thing for folks to get around, but what's the significance of accreditation for a university like Coastal Carolina University?
Well, our whole university has SACS accreditation, but individual programs also have accreditation too, and usually this is voluntary. For example, in our health promotion program, we don't have an accreditation, but we have something very similar called program approval. And we received that about 4 years ago, and it's a very, very difficult process. We really had to study every bit of our academic program from start to finish to make sure all the skills that the experts believe our students need to be successful in the field are taught in our classes. And we also had to implement an internship. We have a 320-hour internship. Our students complete professional portfolios where they have to prove that they have mastered 7 different competencies. We had a visit from people, experts all around the United States, to come and look at our program, interview students, interview graduates. So it is very strenuous. But I'm proud to say that in South Carolina, Coastal Carolina has the only health promotion program with that SADPAC program approval, and there are only 20 programs in the entire nation that have that.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
Son of a gun. Now, as you're going through that accreditation that program, I remember just what it is. When you're going through that, if there's something that's not quite, do you have a chance to fix that, or is it, do they come back 4 years later? I mean, how does that happen? Do you know a little bit ahead of time that you would be able to more or less have a shot at getting it?
Usually, if they find weaknesses, they will send you, after they leave, they go back and deliberate, then they let you know what the weaknesses are, and they'll generally give you either a conditional status where you can come up with remedies for those weaknesses, or totally granted your program approval, or you don't have it at all. Exactly, exactly. And we were given the conditional at first until we implemented an alumni survey to make sure our alumni were happy with the program, and they were able to see the results of that, and then we were given the full program approval.
What was the report card you got from alums?
It was very good. It was very good. Our students were, in fact, they were very excited about the program, and we received some amazing feedback from that committee of people around the United States about our program.
That helps a ton, and to think you're in the company of only 19 other universities nationwide that are accredited in to that level of accreditation. That's tremendous.
Absolutely. It was big.
That's tremendous. I see you've also been very active on the athletics side as the NCAA representative.
I'm the faculty athletics representative, and the NCAA requires that every university have a faculty member to work with athletics. I don't report to the athletic director, I report to President DeCenzo. But I oversee and make sure that our student athletes are not given any preferential treatment, they're treated fairly, that they have taken the appropriate classes to be able to participate in their sports. And I interview all of the seniors. This past year I've interviewed
all senior athletes?
All senior athletes, 79 I interviewed this year. But that's you know, when the student athletes come in and they leave, and I just think, wow, we just have some amazing student athletes here. But it's good to hear their feedback, and you know, thinking about academics and what they speak positively about, so many of them talk about the caring faculty here at Coastal, the strong programs, the availability of faculty, and we also have a new Will Garland Academic Enhancement Center for student athletes, where it's a very nice facility over by the football stadium, and a lot of praise for that too from the student athletes. So it's a very rewarding job. It's very busy, but it's good.
Now, how could you handle those interviewing those 79 students as well as continuing to maintain your class? I mean, these are pretty extensive interviews.
They are very extensive. There's actually a paper pencil and open-ended, and then a face-to-face. So it's very time-consuming.
Wow. Yes, but maintaining your classroom, a typical schedule, so that viewers would have a sense of just understanding what is a typical week like for you.
I wear so many hats.
Is there a typical week?
No, there's not really. I mean, I do teach, and the faculty athletics reps may go to athletic meeting, meet with several athletes during the day, and I also work with a program called the Swain Scholars. And that's a new assignment this year. And it's a really interesting program. It's really one of a kind for the whole nation. Kenneth Swain is a retired pharmacist from Myrtle Beach, and he made a donation to Coastal. We're actually going to be breaking ground and building the new Swain Science Center here shortly. And as a part of that too, he wanted students who were high academically achieving students in biology, chemistry, health promotion, or exercise science to be involved in community health outreach. So it's a very competitive process. They can earn scholarships, and then I help those students to identify problems in the community, and then they go out and do health education programs in the community.
Right at those problems.
Exactly. And this year we had sort of a two-pronged program. We worked toward a pediatric obesity prevention program, and we worked with Little River Medical Center, and they identified some clients who were borderline children who were overweight. And so we did health education sessions with them, and we also did a series of sessions for an after-school program at Palmetto Bays, also in the nutrition area.
That's tremendous. I see there's been a lot in the news recently about pediatric obesity, and the First Lady, that's not Terry DeCenzo, but the First Lady's Michelle Obama's push to really work against, and I don't want to say against, because I saw one of the quotes from one of the kids or an adult saying that you don't want the children to think that you're against them.
Right, no, absolutely. And there's a fine line, really, because you want these children to feel good about themselves. And you know, prevention really is key, because if we can help them as they're growing to maintain their weight, then they have a much better chance of being a healthy adult without so many health problems. Type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure are very prevalent among our young people today because of the increases in body weight.
the work that some of the Swain scholars were doing there in Little River? I mean, you can see immediate results from that, or just the feel that things are heading in the right direction?
Well, we did a very extensive, I guess, surveying process,
right.
but it just ended last week, so we're just in the process of evaluating how they felt about it. Yeah, so I don't have all the findings yet, but for the Swain scholars and just the feedback we got face to face, it was all very positive.
That's great. That's great. You also work with the Jackson Scholars Program.
I'm on the board for the Jackson Scholars Program.
For viewers who may not be familiar with that, with that program, share with them a little bit about it.
Well, unlike the Swain Scholars, which is in College of Science, this is actually in humanities, and I don't directly work with it, but as I said, I'm on the board.
Right.
And they really promote ethics and moral character. They have a series of speakers. They have a tea in ethics that happens several times during the year, Java Jabber. It's really great because people come in and just sort of you know, raise critical thinking about ethical behavior related to the environment or media, a lot of different areas. And they also have students, the Jackson Scholars, who oversee these different community ethics programs.
When we think, and not to divert from that, but thinking about health promotion and the excitement in the classroom for you to know that these students could be going out either to further their education or getting right out into the workforce. Are there some exciting just things you're hearing, anecdotally or otherwise, about the experiences they're having, some of your students that have gone on and even coming back to talk to you about some of their experiences?
Well, I think one very exciting, one of our graduates, Forrest Alton, he's now the CEO of the South Carolina Campaign to Prevent Teenage Pregnancy. They wrote a large grant, and they included 2 counties, Spartanburg and Horry, and for the next 5 years, Horry County will be awarded, well, through them, $750,000 a year for 5 years.
Wow.
And they've already done a needs assessment of the community. Really, a lot of it's going to be about trying to find worthwhile, interesting activities for our children so that they have meaningful things to do after school, working with parents so they can talk to their children. And so I'm just thrilled. He was one of our very first health promotion graduates, and now he is giving back to our community in that way.
That is tremendous.
Yeah, but we've had, you know, I hear success stories all the time from students who are out in the field. I can't go anywhere without running into students and then telling me about their excitement about their jobs at the American Cancer Society or Heart Association or Loris Medical Center, or so many different places.
How many are y'all graduating on an annual basis from the health promotion program with that degree?
Yeah, probably around 80 a year.
Great. So it's a substantial number that are getting out, and many of them are staying local, or are they traveling? I mean, they're heading out all over.
About half of the students go on to graduate programs. Maybe about 30% stay locally, and the others go.
30% is as many as 25 people staying around.
It is. So
that's a big chunk of people heading into the workforce
locally. Which is great for our community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. To see the results of that, and particularly to know that it's a program that's accredited as highly recognized as prominently as y'all. That's wonderful. When you think about, for you, as you see Coastal, the changes since prior to independence, when I say independence, prior to 1993 when it broke from the University of South Carolina, to present, Professor Thompson, for viewers, just give them a little sense of some of the most exciting aspects for you of seeing the university grow.
Well, when I first came to Coastal, after about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it would really be very quiet. There would be parking spaces everywhere. No one would be around. The evenings are rather quiet. And when I would talk to my students in the classroom and, you know, say, well, what brought you to Coastal? They viewed Coastal then as a stepping stone. They would say, well, I'm only here for a year or two, and then I'm going to go to University of South Carolina, or I'm going to transfer to Clemson. That's not the case anymore. Students come to Coastal because of Coastal. And if you set foot on this campus now, it is so vibrant. There are afternoon classes, evening classes, Friday evening classes, Saturday classes. There are so many events on campus, athletic and otherwise. It's just a really exciting place to be. And
brick and mortar. Just for you, as you enter the campus off of Highway 501, even thinking about entering the campus off of 544 was probably not the case back in the early 90s, but to enter it now and to drive in, for you, that must be tremendous.
It is very exciting, and I think in the next 5 years people won't even recognize Coastal if they haven't been here in the past 5 years.
We heard about
have
the
so
2021, the big master plan on Monday and Tuesday earlier this week, and to think about the growth, or from the academic setting, are there ever concerns, and maybe this is better at a different setting, but are there ever concerns about the real push to increase the size of the university dramatically when there's a big push? Oftentimes, as we talk to Dr. DeCenzo and to Chairman Alford about quantity versus quality, and some of the real concerns oftentimes that may be expressed when you're pushing for increasing numbers dramatically. Are there ever fears in the classroom that quality may be cut short by doing just that?
Well, you know, one thing I love about Coastal is the personal attention, and I hear that from the student athletes, I hear it from the students in my classes, and I would not want us to lose that. I attended Clemson and University of South Carolina, and those are both great institutions, but we really have something special here at Coastal in that we know our students' names and really go the extra mile for our students. So I would hope as the numbers continue to grow that adequate faculty could be hired, which could be difficult as budget cuts come up, so that we can continue that personal attention and the class sizes that are not so large.
Right. Right. Well, please know both Dr. DeCenzo and Billy Alford press the point that as students grow, commensurate faculty numbers will increase. So at least from what they said earlier this week, it's a good sign there. Growing up in Florence and obviously being here for the 10 years prior to joining the university, had you thought, you know, I've just finished my degree at South Carolina, I was traveling a little bit, maybe I should head somewhere else to teach, or was it that Coastal was going to be the place for you?
Coastal is just my home, and I was attending Coastal for a graduate when my first daughter was born, and I was teaching at Coastal when my second daughter was born, and it's like family. So I've every now and then something will go through my mind about teaching somewhere else, but I could never leave. It's home.
Those are great words and a great way to wrap. Thanks so much.
Thank you,
We've
Greg.
run out of time. Absolutely. Professor Thompson, stay tuned for a little more All-American People coming up next. How could she stay down to earth? I don't know if I could. How could you? Sun News Volunteer of the Year, the South Carolina Health Professional of the Year, the Governor's Professor of the Year. How does she check her ego at the door? She checks it because she's walking into that classroom, and it's like being with family. You heard her say it, those last words out of her mouth, Coastal Carolina University. It's like raising her daughters. It's a piece of family, and when she's in the classroom, obviously she's got that role, a critical role at the front of the class, but dealing with family members, dealing with students and making a difference in their lives for health promotion, clearly making a difference in the community day in and day out. It's a big commitment, but it's one that she's taken seriously. Isn't it special to hear those family words? Professor Sharon Thompson, thank you again for being with us this morning.